We lost another one.
Well, we're live. I guess we're going with it.
Yeah,
Right? I guess
we
we're
are
rolling
going
with
with it.
All right.
Hey, Coffee, how's it going?
Hello. Insanity says better be revealing them calves, Ryan. That's why the viewers are here.
For the
It's not
calves
for us. It's for the calves.
and the gorgeous.
If that is really the case, oh my God, that is such an ego boost.
Well, and then you are missing a golden opportunity with your OnlyFans with calves.
Would just be only calves.
Oh, only
Mhm.
Mer.
Oh, welcome in, everyone. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday indeed.
I was
We
sitting up.
want
Yeah,
calves.
now there's chanting in the chat. We want calves.
I completely forgot it was Wednesday. Oh,
There
I
they
see. I
are,
think
the
I see the gooch.
calves.
I think I saw the gooch.
But was it cinematic?
No, definitely was not.
Oh, by the way, just as a recommendation for folks, you know how a lot of those pharmaceutical commercials say, if there's an infection of the perineum that might be fatal,
Yeah.
don't look it up. Just throwing it out there.
Why on
No.
earth would you look it up?
I heard it like more than once over the weekend, so I was curious. I was like, wonder what
On
this is
rare
all about.
occasions, fatal infections of the perineum may occur.
Right, and so I looked it up. No,
No.
I didn't even have
God,
to. I
no.
didn't get past the first page. I didn't click the images. I just saw what it was actually called. And I was
Yeah,
like,
Sanity gets it.
I'm out.
Is this
I'm
a
out.
blue waffle situation?
It could be.
I don't think so. I think it must
Yeah.
be more common than we think if it's being mentioned in multiple pharmaceutical commercials across different companies.
Oh, we just got a raid from Pixel Pop Productions.
Hey!
Welcome,
Raiders.
Raiders, while we're talking about fatal perineum infections.
Please stay. Please stay. I guarantee you we will change the topic to gaming.
So since we're just starting off the episode, why don't we actually kick things off? Is that it?
Let's
Can we do that? Right? We got a raid. I feel obligated now.
Thank you for the raid, Pixelpon.
All right, welcome to Gamers Week podcast. Like the name says, we analyze the best, the worst, and the weirdest headlines of the past week in the video game industry. This is episode 169. And today is Wednesday, June 10th, 2025. I am Ryan, aka Retro Game Brews, and I will be your host for this evening. But I am not alone. I have two wonderful human beings sitting beside me, kind of in the interwebs. First of all, is a man who has access to all the outdated technology, like a modern Red from Shawshank Redemption, who is now opening his own useless junk shop called Donditos Locos Technos. Well, he'll find everything you're looking for, like he made a deal with the devil himself. Visit his website at www.nipniptechno.com. Donnie, how you doing? Yep.
Donditos kick your ass. Donditos kick your face. Donditos kick your balls into outer space.
I need you to go see if that URL is available.
I'm pretty sure it is. And if you look around, like I dare not like change the camera to show the piles and piles of crap that's currently sitting in my office and down and over here and downstairs and all the stuff that I just need to get rid of.
Nipnip.com is available.
Nipnip.com is available. But
I just put a picture of me in the tassels. Like, hey.
That would be the landing page. That's all you need.
And you click on each nipple to go to a different directory.
Homepage, contact us. All right. Next up is a woman who has, up until this point, been under the radar for her absolute obsession with this type of Japanese anime that I have been falsely accused of watching for years from the hosts and viewers of the show. And tonight we plan to rectify that. Blue, how you doing today?
Fine. I don't deny it, just nobody's ever asked.
It rhymes with Bente.
Bente.
I mean, you're the one who's buying the games. I'm just watching the stuff. I haven't actually purchased anything.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm not watching the stuff, and I'm just buying the games because they're funny.
Okay. We'll let
I,
the chat decide which is more incriminating.
We're like the Wonder Twins, though. If you put them together, we're like one full hentai.
One full pervert.
like, I couldn't believe it actually showed up on my Steam thing, and I have done no searching of any kind whatsoever. It's like there's the title, and I'm just like, huh, that probably seems like something Ryan would play. And I click on it, and there are all the images, and I'm just like, huh, okay, well that's gonna screw up my algorithm here.
Yeah. Of course, I think your algorithm was already screwed up because it said middle-aged male. Yes.
Of course, yeah. I'm typecast, stereotyped there.
Unfairly.
Yeah, very unfairly.
Must be awful for you.
All right. So, want to start your own podcast? Maybe a paranormal speed dating podcast? Well, you'll need a place to host your show. Buzzsprout has a user-friendly interface, great analytics, and resources to help you grow your audience. Use the link in the description and get a $20 credit when you sign up for a paid plan. So why don't we go ahead and jump into our reviews, reactions, and requests. First up from Gaming and Games, I too am really excited about Lumines Arise. The PSP original was the last game that Mrs. Gaines would play.
Lumines. I don't think that was one of the choices that we pronounced it as last.
No.
Lumines?
Luminous, which is like,
Luminous,
yeah.
Lumines.
Lumine. I like Lumines.
That's a new one.
Right? I like added a little bit of the extra into this.
We'll make sure we hit all the phonics.
Well, I'm 99% sure, and I'm gonna get actually by Zach.
Mm-hmm.
Tiny Balls, and
Tiny Balls.
he's gonna tell me how to pronounce it because he does every episode. Every time I pronounce something wrong.
ZTB.
It's a thankless job, but somebody's got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not thinking of you, right? New Dad Gaming, a cinematic gooch shot would have given us Gerald's coin purse in full view. We got robbed. Well played, sir.
Toss a coin to your
yeah, right, Donnie. Can we get in there?
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, Knox7 says, as long as the gooch shot isn't half-assed.
But
well done, Knox.
Games of coffee. Hey. All right, so why don't we go ahead and shout out our patrons?
We couldn't do what we do without the help of our gorgeous patrons. Here are the generous folks supporting Gamers Week on Patreon. Loudmoth, Retroblast, Pat, B&T Zillaguy, The Mad Milkman, Seven Castle Forest, Crunchy Kong, Sheriff Snacks, Frank Grande, Love Retro BTW, Steven Sand, Ramboski, Terry Kinnair, Don't Make Me Pull This Car Over, Games with Coffee, Hybrid Divide, You Fall Before Me, Davey PGH, The Pixel Pond Family, including Shannon and Luke, Zach Tiny Balls, Puzzle Butter, Number One Blue, Sick Voice Fan, Love You Zach, John Barron, Stassi Sony, Evo Lust, Rai Wants This Boy's Soul, Mega Retroman, Gamatroid, Moradib, Michael, Sir, the people are revolting. You said it, they stink on ice. Lakite, Emo-esque, Bill Tucker, you know, the bleeps, the sweeps, and the crepes. Fruitcakes, I hate when my Schwartz gets twisted. Pickle Pepper, Ducks with Thick Thighs, absolutely the best podcast, a work in progress. Bobs and Dugnut, and Blue's Little Sis. If you like what you hear today, and we really hope you do, please consider joining us on Patreon. Your support helps cover the cost of producing the show, as well as other cool stuff we'll be doing, like prizes and giveaways. You'll also gain access to our bi-weekly patron-only bonus cast called Gamers Week Uncut, Patrons with Benefits. Visit patreon.com/gamersweek or follow the link in the show notes to learn more.
Fantastic. So we're becoming a Mel Brooks themed.
Yes, and I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. I think it's fantastic.
Somebody's going to have to go back. We're going to need a shitload of dimes.
All right. So why don't we jump into our headlines?
Probably not going to hear a lot from Blazing Saddles, but this headline segment. This headline segment is proudly sponsored by Absolutely the Best Podcast, a work in progress. Each episode, George and Zach discuss and rank all the best things, starting with deep dives into every movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This week, they've got a trivia question for us. What Commodore 64 game is Fred Savage's character playing in the opening scene of The Princess Bride? Visit them at absolutelythebest.net or follow the link in the show notes.
See, I tried to think of this because I didn't want to look it up because that's cheating. I didn't want to do that. But
Yeah.
I was thinking I couldn't remember him playing a Commodore 64 game. Like the only one that I remember was the movie Big, where he is like melt the ice wizard and it says melt it with what?
Yeah.
I cannot for the life of me remember this part of the movie.
I don't
and I've
remember.
seen that movie thousands of times, it seems like.
Yeah.
It's the very, very beginning. I remember it.
Mhm.
You walk in and it's on the screen for about 2 seconds. And you hear like generalized bleep bloops because child playing game.
Bloops.
And then the mother comes in and checks his fever and the movie goes on.
You would think that with it being a 1987 movie, should he have been playing a Nintendo?
No, it said, well, I mean, yeah, at that time, especially.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
when was the movie shot?
Even then, it
Probably.
would be 86, so 85 would have come out, was when the Nintendo came out, so.
Yeah. I mean, if they were able to get one or even thought about it. Nintendo wasn't a big thing then, right away.
You're not wrong. I just don't know the library of the Commodore 64 that well.
Would you like a hint?
Sure.
This is not a softball question.
Baseball?
Tommy Lasorda's All-Star Baseball.
You're both in the right zip code.
Okay.
But I'm gonna need something specific.
I'll be honest, I don't remember him playing a video game. The part that I remember is when his grandpa walks in and he's got the book, and then that's it. I do remember, however, vividly that there's a Leech Masters of the Universe figure and Grizzlor and a half bag of Cheetos. I do remember that, but I don't remember him playing a video game.
You'll have to check it out when we're done. Give up?
I do give up.
Yeah.
The answer is hardball.
Hardball. A baseball game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, because I think
Glad
hardball.
We clarified that.
Hardball, I think, also came out there was a version for the Sega Genesis, if I'm not mistaken.
I got nothing there.
Yeah, I really didn't pay attention much, especially baseball games. No way.
Yeah, all early baseball games look exactly the same.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, Hardball 1985 for the Commodore 64. Hardball 2 1989.
It was so good they made a sequel. Hardball 2, more harder.
For IBM PCs.
The chat is chanting about a patron movie night with Princess Bride now.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah, I'm done with that.
All right.
Okay.
Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
Hardball 3 for the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo.
God, they made 3 of them.
They made a hell of a lot more than that. They made 6 of them.
6 of them.
Oh, damn.
And just didn't quite make it over to, modern day gaming, right?
Right.
You fall before me says Hardball 2, harder, daddy. Games with Coffee says Hardball 3, don't forget the safe word. I like this. I'm suddenly much more interested in this series.
Because we can make innuendos.
That's
and
what we
puns.
do here.
And it's a mixture of innuendos and puns. I like it,
Yeah.
All right, so with this week's headline, it is early June, which means it's time for a ton of video game events. Rising from the ashes of E3, Geoff Keighley's Summer Game Fest is now the premium gaming event of the year. Unlike the show it replaced, Summer Games Fest is an egalitarian affair, spotlighting games from AAA developers and small indies across a diverse set of live streams. Summer Games Fest 2025 included 15 individual events running from June 3rd to 9th, and here are the biggest announcements not E3 week. I'm going to say this, and just before we jump into this, it is so hard to follow everything when it is an entire week of this and there's
Yeah.
just crap in between I don't care about.
Yeah.
It would be different if it was like all really interesting, but there's a lot of non-interesting stuff
Mm-hmm.
that I just do not care about. So they got to be strategic with watching this. All right. So first up, perhaps the biggest of all was the ninth Zero and codename Veronica Erasure is real Resident Evil game. Resident Evil Requiem is said to be a tonal shift compared to the last game, Resident Evil Village. Here's hoping it reinvigorates the series in the same way Resident Evil 7 did, following the disappointing 6. Got it right. Nailed it. We also heard from Sega Studio Rio Guy
You were right
Gotoku.
there.
Yep. About Project Sensory, which seems to be a 1943 take on the Yakuza series. It's now called Stranger Than Heaven, and there's literally a jazzy new trailer for your consideration.
Techland has not only given us a new look at Dying Light the Beast, but it has confirmed that it will be out on August 22nd, 2025. Dying Light the Beast is a standalone story that puts players back in the shoes of Kyle Crane following his absence in the 2022 sequel. Wu Tang, Rise of the Deceiver, meshes Afro surrealism and anime, and will feature a soundtrack filled with both classic Wu Tang songs and new music from DJ Just Blaze. You've been called to battle back the forces of an invading, corrupting force, the Deceiver, an official description says. You and your friends will fight alongside the Wu Tang Clan, calling on their powerful skills and timeless wisdom to restore Shaolin to a beacon of hope, community,
Timeless
and
wisdom.
prosperity. Embark Studios stopped by Summer Game Fest to announce that Arc Raiders will officially be released on October 30th, 2025 on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. More details on everything included in its full release will be revealed closer to launch.
Brian Lee O'Malley is back working on a brand new Scott Pilgrim video game called Scott Pilgrim EX. This is a co-op brawler that maintains that classic look fans know and love, and it's coming to PC via Steam, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S at an unspecified point in the future. Square Enix has officially revealed Killer Inn, a new team-based social deduction game that sees players dropped into a big mansion together. It's not quite a pleasant party, however, as the Wolves team must murder all of the lambs. The twist is that the lambs don't know who their teammates are and need to discover who is trying to murder them and who is their friend. Wildgate, the space shooter from former Blizzard-led studio Moonshot Games, landed a release date of July 22nd, 2025. It's a promising announcement as the team works towards a smooth landing, but you don't have to wait too long to play it for yourself. Along with the release date reveal, Moonshot announced that eager sci-fi fans can go hands-on with an open beta starting Monday, June 9th. It's a cross-platform test available to all for free until June 16th.
Light Studio, the developer behind the wonderful Lego Builder's Journey, has announced it's back with Lego Voyages, a new two-player co-op adventure with a split faction style friend pass, or split fiction style friend pass. Survivor horror game Ill showed off its terrifying face at Summer Games Fest, and we got our first look at the body horror gameplay that includes some gnarly dismemberment mechanics. You'll you'll have to make your way through a horrifying research for it to recover something that means the most to you. Xbox Showcase was the last big event of the weekend. Major news was that ROG Xbox Ally and ROG Xbox Ally X, the two new Xbox focused PC handhelds, internally a lot like Asus ROG Ally handhelds, but the grips have been smoothed out and feel more like an Xbox controller in your hands.
And as a side note, a quick screw you to Microsoft for using Hollow Knight Silksong to show off the new handheld. We're all starving out here, and this was not helpful. I guess the news that it'll be playable on day one on the handheld at least narrows down the release date to between now and whenever the hell this thing comes out. Less of a surprise was Outer Worlds 2, which Microsoft said would be at the show well ahead of time. We got a release date, October 29, and a deep dive into the game's new systems. It looks like an expanded title compared to the original, with an improved combat system and a more fleshed out set of companions. Asobo Studio announced at the Xbox Games Showcase that its new entry in the Plague Tale series is a prequel set 15 years before its last game. Resonance, a Plague Tale legacy, is focused on the smuggler Sophia from A Plague Tale Requiem and is scheduled to be released in 2026.
The Persona 4 remake is real and is going to be called Persona 4 Revival. Atlas shared a trailer for the game during the Xbox Games Showcase, confirming its upgraded, likely Unreal Engine 5 powered visuals and that it's coming to Xbox platforms. 2 years after it was first announced, we just got an extended trailer for In Exile Entertainment's Clockwork Revolution at the Xbox Games Showcase, and it looks kind of incredible and completely over the top. A man dubbed The Knob, aka Davey, pisses his pants a minute and 56 seconds in, and someone else later gets cursed out by an automaton doll. We still don't have a release date, though, just the assurance that it's coming in due time. The one more thing of the show was a new Call of Duty game, Black Ops 7. Truly, when a game comes out every year, is it really worth blowing your one more thing on? And last but not least, although it's not officially part of SGF Week, yesterday, Nintendo announced Splatoon Raiders, a brand new Splatoon spin-off exclusive to the Switch 2. The surprise reveal was made with a trailer that was released first on the Nintendo Today app. Splatoon Raiders is the first ever Splatoon spin-off game. Nintendo did not specify a release window, but said to keep an eye out for more information in the future. You're welcome, Ryan.
Thank you.
Okay, so there was a lot going on this week. Thoughts?
I would say the first thing that jumps out to me was that Square Enix kind of mailed this one in a bit.
What, you don't want what is it? Killer In?
So Killer In, okay. So yes and no. So I've always been a fan of the game Werewolf as a kid, right? And it was, there's one or more werewolves, and you as a team have to figure out who the werewolf is. But the werewolf is, has the ability to kind of point out as to who they want to kill and yada yada yada,
Mm-hmm.
right? Classic game. You play it in class. It's fun. But Werewolves Within already did that one. Among Us already did that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been dying for Square Enix to come out with something that's not Final Fantasy VII, that still has the feel and story and depth and character building that a Final Fantasy game has.
No, we
So
don't do that.
yeah, apparently we've forgotten what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I think it would be a fun party game for maybe us to play as a group of individuals, because again, Werewolf is a fun game anyway. It's just not what I'm looking for from Square Enix, and I'm tired of being disappointed, I guess.
But would you rather be disappointed at a brand new game from them that is completely off the beaten path from their traditional Final Fantasy crap that they push out?
Crap?
Yeah.
Did you just say
Lately.
crap?
Yes. Final
Lately?
Fantasy
I
has
mean,
not
fair.
been decent for a while.
Fair.
Yeah. Yeah, Gadgets Coffee says, see Final Fantasy 16. Couldn't agree more.
Is that
Yeah.
is the Final Fantasy 16 the one that just had that very generic role playing game feel trailer that was
Yep.
like, what is this?
Mhm.
Oh, it's a Final Fantasy
Mhm.
game? Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah. But Square Enix has tried, there was Foam Stars, remember? They were trying
do.
to do this multiplayer thing. That failed horribly. This is a different kind of spin on a
Sure.
multiplayer horror game. It feels a little bit like they're just checking boxes of what are popular genres that we can try to put something in.
Right.
So I will be a little bit surprised if this does well, but who knows? You need the werewolf game and set it in 1940s, and you can call it original, I guess. But we'll see.
Mhm.
I'd say the other one that stuck out to me was which one is it? The Heaven one. No Place Like Heaven, right? What am I thinking?
The
Yakuza game.
Yakuza game,
Oh, Stranger Than Heaven. There we go.
Stranger Than Heaven.
Yeah. That looked interesting to me. For one, it looked really nice. I love the visuals, all the neon lights of going into 1940s Japan. But it's also kind of an interesting time. It's in the middle of World War II, so I'm curious as to how they'll take that one. I'm not like a huge Yakuza fan. I'm not like a big player in that genre. Uh,
Hmm.
but the fact that it's that time frame definitely piques my interest. Um, it's not one that I think I'm going to jump out and buy right away, but I will definitely kind of keep my ear out for it to see how it goes. Because I know Yakuza fans are not afraid to tell you whether or not they like a version of a game or not. So,
Fair. What fans are afraid to tell you?
I mean, there are a lot of groups of stands and
Okay.
fanboys that,
Fair, fair.
yeah.
You're right. You're
Hmm.
right. What about you, Donnie? What stuck out to you?
What was the one? I think it was uh ill.
Ooh.
Ill,
Was
Ew,
yes.
that
that
looks
the
so cool.
So
creepy
good.
one with the little baby thing at the end just going?
Right, and the player
Oh,
character goes up and kicks it.
yeah. That was a little freaking creepy. Um, unfortunately, the Summer Games Fest announcements just didn't hit like the PlayStation State of Play did. It seemed
Right.
like every single game I wanted to play from PlayStation. Summer Games Fest announcements, it's like it was very hit or miss. I think there were
Mm.
maybe 3 or 4 games that really did anything for me. Ill was one of the ones. Scott Pilgrim. I was excited when I saw that one because the Scott
Mhm.
Pilgrim games, the beat 'em ups, the side scrolling beat 'em ups, I loved that particular game when it came out, and it reminded me of River City Ransom. Of course, it kind of
Yeah.
falls within that whole
Mhm.
art style and everything.
Hmm.
But yeah, like right now, Ill and Scott Pilgrim stood out. And what surprised me was that Xbox came out with their handheld that, and I need
Yeah.
you guys to help me with this. Does this mean that you can take this handheld and you can play it outside of your home?
Hmm.
Mhm.
So it's like a Steam Deck, but definitely, I guess, more of a library available because it has all of the old Xbox stuff. If you have that subscription,
Yeah, my understanding is you can play Game Pass on a Steam Deck anyway.
Right.
And the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding. And that's a lot of the feedback that I've been seeing online is while the thing kind of looks cool, why would you need this versus a Steam Deck? So it does
yeah,
remain to be seen what is the price point. If it's significantly cheaper than a Steam Deck, then sure, then I see the market niche it's going to fill. But if it's trying to compete head on with the Steam Deck and do the same thing, I don't know.
yeah, it kind of doesn't make any sense. Like I kind of like it because maybe this is where Microsoft goes from here on when they're like, you know what, we're done with the whole console thing, the idea of sitting at home and playing video games. No, it's basically on the go. What the Switch did, the Switch came out and said, "Hey, take your games anywhere." Okay, and they did. And now that's what it seems like Microsoft is trying to do. Sony did it with the Portal, but they're like, "No, stay your ass at home to play on the go. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could play
Right.
in a different room or whatever." But I don't know if this is going to be the move that saves Xbox.
Deacon85 says Microsoft already lost the console market, so they needed a new market in handhelds to lose.
And it sounds
And
like for the most part, they're not the ones who's actually like fully manufacturing this. Like this is for a couple
yeah,
of the
Right, partnership.
gamers.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, and they're just kind of like put our controllers on the side of it and then call it an Xbox handheld.
Right. Right.
But if that's how it's going to be going forward, then I could totally see Microsoft getting out of the console business. It's not the dongle; it's a handheld
Dongle.
that's powerful. Dongle
Dongle.
as a PC and new hardware. So why do we need to go and create a system for this? We can just put it. You could project it to any TV.
Hmm.
Why not?
And I think it's a move from them being a hardware developer to a service developer.
Yeah,
You know, where they become a Steam, they become an Epic Game Store, right? Because I mean, they really at this point, um, from what I understand, they're bleeding money by having a console. Let's be honest. And the biggest thing that's attractive is Game Pass, hands down.
Yeah.
So people buy an Xbox for Game Pass, and they can get it on their PC. So Why not just completely pivot away from having that loss of hardware that you have to
Right.
pay for? Utilize your name, get royalties for that or whatever through a partnership. And yeah, they don't have complete creative control over what that system's going to look like, but all their games are going to work on it. So
Well, it looks exactly like a Steam Deck anyway. But
it does.
see, to me, I get what you guys are saying, but to me, this screams Microsoft being greedy. They could get out of the console market at any point, and they will at some point, but they risk pissing off the fanboys, which
Hmm.
they are afraid to do. That's why they keep saying, "Don't worry, we're not done making consoles." They might be lying out of their ass, but that's what they keep saying. We're not done making consoles. This seems like a bid to try to steal that PC base that's not buying their hardware. They're buying other PCs and yet
Mm-hmm.
using their game service that we already know loses them money. So if you can get them to buy your hardware, then maybe you've won a little bit more. But I still don't. This is not a niche that asked for Microsoft to be there. There's so many choices there already. So they better have a really, really compelling reason why people need to buy this one versus just a straight Xbox if the prices are comparable, or versus a Steam Deck again if the prices are comparable.
Didn't wasn't Microsoft one of the companies that actually raised prices on their
Mm-hmm.
consoles? Okay,
Hmm.
Yep.
so it's like if you're raising prices on an old console, you know people are probably not going to spend that money to buy it. Hey, here's another thing that you can buy that has the Xbox name on it that you can play your games on.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yep. And we're
greed and
preemptively raising the price on it before we
yeah.
even have announced it. Just so you know.
$4,000.
But as far as the games, like I mean, I agree. This is a tough time of year. I should say it's a challenging time of year because when you've been watching game trailers for 6 hours straight, like only the best of the best, like the top 5%, stay in your mind, and everything else kind of runs together. I will agree that the Sony State of Play hit much harder. Not only
Mm-hmm.
was it first, but it was shorter, and so there was more room in your brain for those games to stick. And then you start watching Summer Game Fest and you're like, this looks cool, this looks okay, I might check this out, but 30 minutes later you've completely forgotten what they were and what you were interested in. So the stuff that sticks out to me, of course, is Resident Evil 9. That
Yes.
trailer looks amazing. And it was the one last thing of Summer Game Fest. And I was sitting there the whole time like Silk Song, Silk Song, Silk Song, Silk Song. And then they start showing the trailer. I'm like, obviously this isn't Silk Song unless they've come up with some sort of killer joke. So I was sad for about 30 seconds, and then I realized what it was. Because I was looking at the font, actually was what clued me in the trailer. The font they had on some documents that they showed, I was like, that looks like Resident Evil font, like
Very
typewriter font.
observant.
Yeah, and I was like, this looks like Resident Evil. So, and it was pretty clever how they did it, because they initially brought on the creator, and he said, we don't have anything for you, like please stay patient a little bit longer and we'll have an
Yeah.
update soon. And then about a half hour and everybody, because it had been rumored that the trailer was going to be announced, or the game was going to be announced, and so everybody went, oh, the rumor wasn't true, and then a half hour later there it was.
I did like that. And I didn't completely forget about Resident Evil 9. It's just that, yeah, it was a cinematic. Okay. Cinematic. They don't tell us or show us really anything about the game whatsoever. It's another Resident Evil installment of the franchise. How does it tie in to the previous ones? I think if they're in Raccoon City, that's the only
Mm-hmm.
thing. So
Returning to Raccoon City.
right, after the events of Resident Evil 2, um, great. It keep me on the edge of my seat, but it doesn't give me anything about the gameplay.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll release gameplay later, but I think for
Yeah.
an announcement trailer that's purely to build hype. We have no idea when this thing is coming out. It's going to be 100 years from now, probably. But
Coming in 2030. Shit.
yeah, the hype is real. Let's see. The Wu-Tang game. Did not expect that one.
It
That was
looks
out
like
of
it
left field.
was. The art style looks like it is for the children.
Yeah.
Curious to see what the rating is on that.
I'm just thinking, like, it says the wisdom of the Wu-Tang Clan is like, Method Man's like, uh, you know, cash rules everything around you, my son. Get the
Get the
money,
money.
dollar
Dollar
bills,
bills,
y'all.
y'all.
TCan85 says gameplay takes came out today. First and third person. Choose your preferred Resident Evil.
Interesting.
That's
Huh.
great. I love
Okay.
that.
Tank controls? Throwback? Can
No.
you choose that?
Nobody in their right mind besides you would choose that voluntarily.
Exactly.
Yeah. I thought Ill looks amazing. And then there was the Hollow Knight Silk Song tease, which it sucked. It's like, and then it was so nice, I guess, because everybody is tagging me online like, Blue, they showed Silk Song. They showed Silk Song. I'm like, yeah, but they didn't give a release date. They just said sometime this year. But I think Xbox said that 2 years ago.
Right.
They said this will be out within the next year. And then they straight up lied to our faces. So I'm really hoping that it's going to release this year, but I'm not going to believe it until I see it.
Right.
Clockwork Revolution looks really cool. It's a first-person shooter, so I won't play it, but I think it looks interesting, and I am looking forward to seeing some streams of that.
Yeah, I love the
And
steampunk aesthetic. I think it looks
yeah,
really cool.
yeah, looks pretty original.
Mhm.
And then the one more thing of the Xbox showcase, which was Call of Duty or Black Ops 7.
Yeah.
So when the trailer started, I thought it looked interesting. It looked like an Alan Wake kind of thing, like
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
a Resident
yeah.
Evil thing, like a new IP, like an action adventure new IP with some horror elements. I was pretty interested in it, and it was playing Nine Inch Nails during the trailer, and I'm like, whatever this is, I'm in for it. It looks good. And then it showed up. It showed up at the end. Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I was like, no, it was Call of Duty the whole time. They played me.
You played yourself.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not complaining about anything we saw this week. I think there's plenty coming up that's going to be really fun to play, even if I can't remember it all. The
Right.
trailers will come out later once the game's released, and we'll be like, oh, yeah, I kind of remember this.
And for me, I now have to buy a Switch 2.
Yep.
'Cause
Yeah.
I did say that if they came out with a new Splatoon game, I would buy a Switch 2. And if I remember right, I didn't specifically say Splatoon 4. I said another Splatoon game. So I've screwed myself. But I don't want to be accused of being liar game brews again. So
Which you already always
literally,
are.
I know,
Mhm.
I know. But Tuesday, I was on the phone calling every place that possibly could sell one in New York to see if I could get one before I came home. But unfortunately, to no avail.
Excuse me, do you have any Switch 2s
Yeah,
in
that's
stock?
exactly what it sounded
Yep.
like. You're,
Read the sign, dude.
Yep,
I'm
exactly.
on the phone.
Sanity says Team Cherry is like that girl you fell in love with that just leaves you on read.
on Reddit. Does that make it better to laugh about it? Does it make it worse?
I don't know. Like, I'm dead inside, kind of.
Nice.
I feel like I'm dead inside, and then every time I don't get what I want, then the wound is reopened, and turns out it still hurts.
That makes me sad.
Right.
Feel terrible for me. See, you fall before me says ditto.
And that squee will be heard around the world. Sanity says, to be fair, Blue's been dead inside long before Hollow Knight's release.
You guys don't know me
I think
at
we
all. Not even a little bit.
do. Oh, I think we do, Trebek. I think we do indeed.
All right, so taking a look at our next headline, Switchmas Day is finally here, but some unlucky Switch 2 recipients have had a nasty surprise when unwrapping their present from Mia Moho Claus. Thank you.
Good job with that. Good job.
Yep. Reports surfaced of GameStop stores carelessly stapling receipts right to the console's packaging and into its screens. Anyone that already purchased the Switch 2 might have noticed how neatly Nintendo squeezed the thing into its relatively small box in order to
Hmm.
achieve the compact footprint the company has
Crazy.
settled on. On a packaging configuration that places the slimmest line console right at the top of the pile, up against the cardboard surrounding, with just a thin sleeve to protect it from scratches. In most cases, it's a perfectly fine approach, but not when retailers' carelessly and improper use of a staple gun is factored in. These incidents were isolated to one store, GameStop has now said, and the replacement consoles have been offered to those affected. And in what is probably the company's first clever move of this decade, it tweeted that staplers have been confiscated, along with a gif of Milton from the movie Office Space clinging to his precious red swing line stapler.
Like this?
Yeah, there it is. It's my stapler.
I prefer the swing line. They,
Mhm.
they they gave me the Bostonian, but I don't.
And
That's
I
why I
said,
had to get this one.
no salt on the margarita. You would think, or at least I would think, that with the way collectors are now and how anal retentive they are
Oh,
when
yeah.
it comes to the condition of the stuff that they're buying, who in their right mind thought that this was a great idea? Just go receipt, receipt, receipt. Or was it just somebody who had just a shitty day? Was it regulated to one GameStop store?
Apparently, it was one store. I
One
don't know
store.
if that's 100% the truth, but
Okay. Then I could see this as an isolated incident. The person may or not, they probably were having just like really shitty day. Corporate comes down and says, "Hey, you didn't sell enough of the Game Informer magazine subscriptions or the pro subscriptions that we need. So we're going to dock your pay," or yada yada yada. He's like, "Oh yeah? Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool."
Yeah. Um, GoldenEye says, I heard they ran out of staples and started using finishing nails.
That with the hammer and the Mr. Miyagi technique, the bam.
Well, we already know that GameStop has a disdain for boxes of any kind whatsoever.
Right?
Fair,
Right.
fair.
Anytime you get a new game from them, it's fucking opened already, and it's not really a new game because the seal's broken. So
Mhm.
yeah, they don't give a shit about that stuff. Clearly,
Yeah.
tape even would be a kind of a risky maneuver on that one, right?
Hmm.
Especially from a collector's standpoint.
Of course.
Yeah. I see, because if there's one way that GameStop could prove without a doubt to its customer base that it has no idea what it's doing, it was this way, or by
Right.
using tape, or just don't ruin the box. That's not a hard concept, and that's something that GameStop should be able to understand. But as you pointed out, they really don't give a fuck.
Nope.
And it seems to me like this was something that was done like way in advance. Like, we're going to prep for this. We're going to have these console, this midnight launch go perfectly smoothly up ahead of time. Everything is already just get them out the door. And just nobody thought twice. And when I got my Switch 2, because I was reading these early and then my Switch 2 arrived like in the afternoon, opened it up, and they weren't kidding. Like, it is packaged with the screen right up against the lid, the front lid of the box. And I can completely see how it wouldn't be that hard to just staple right into the screen. Brutal. And they
I
offered,
feel bad for the kid that's getting paid minimum wage that probably works there and was told by their manager to do that, and then
yeah.
all of a sudden it becomes the whose fault is this moment, you know?
Just take the stapler and put it in the locker of the coworker you hate.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was him.
But they
It was him.
offered replacements, and I kind of wonder, could they even get replacements? Because you know that they sold out everything they had.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would
So,
hope they would get a replacement and then some kind of credit towards the store, right? Because you're right, there was no way that they were going to get it that day.
right.
I'm
You
trying
need
to
to
think.
store credits so you can go buy some pre-opened new games. It's a service that they're performing. You don't have to open it yourself when you get home.
We'll give you
Yeah.
a free subscription to Game Informer, and you'll be a power-up player for the rest of
Yeah. A 1 month subscription. 1 month. That's all you get.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at the original Switch packaging, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. So I don't really remember how much space there was between the top of the box and where exactly the OLED screen was or where the regular screen was at.
Yeah.
So this kind of concerns me from Nintendo's standpoint as to what they're kind of cramming everything into that small box. Like just opt for the slightly bigger box so that everything fits in there nice and perfectly. This whole Switch 2 launch has just kind of rubbed me the wrong way with Nintendo, and this with them trying to cram everything into such a tiny box, it just doesn't help their cause.
I gotta
Yeah.
imagine that there's some of that is like economies of scale for them, though, trying to reduce the box size so to help with issues in regards to tariffs and shipping and all that kind of stuff. But to your
Sure.
point, Donnie, at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters is that the person gets one that works. And if it's not working, I mean, I would guarantee you that there are probably Switches that, because of the fact that it was so close to that, had a crack screen or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just not something that became as viral because either they just went to the store and got it fixed, or they posted online and people are like, that figures. But stapling holes into the screen is a little outrageous. So that's probably why it's got a headline. But to your point, I wanna be able to play it. It doesn't matter to me at that point. If you got to eat a little bit more as far as cost is concerned, you'll get it back, I'm sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The chat is having a field day with the fact that it rubbed you the wrong way.
And rubbed you the wrong way. And tariffs aren't based on box size, says Sanity.
No, but shipping costs are.
Right. And if you gotta use more cardboard, I'm sure some of that's coming from somewhere.
You know that they factored it down to like the 5th decimal point out of like how exactly they could stretch that cardboard.
Of course.
Maximally.
GoldenEye said, "Just saying, not ordering an Xbox ROG Ally." All right, last up. Every year, game manufacturers turn out all kinds of ludicrous products for April Fool's Day. Zotac, the graphics card and mini PC maker, announced Zotac Gaming Fragrance Collection for the April Fool's Day joke this year, described as an engineered scent collection that refreshes you for intense gaming sessions and unmatched immersion. The spoof page lists scents like yuzu, green tea, bamboo leaves, and ozone accord. Now, however, the company has decided to make good on their joke and announced that they're actually releasing its F5 eSport perfume. Furthermore, the perfume will be given away free for a limited time to fans who complete a series of requirements, such as liking the company's Facebook page and sharing and commenting and tagging friends on the perfume's post. No word on how many lucky fans will be chosen to receive the F5 eSports perfume, which is touted as being able to keep players' body odor fresh during intense games, fight mental fatigue, and improve concentration and speed up reaction time. Align with your senses with the hardware and gain the ultimate gaming advantage. They would be a hit if they would just give this out for free at every con.
Well, does it have cocaine in it or something like that? Because you can fight mental fatigue and improve concentration and speed up your reaction time from a fragrance?
It's still an April Fool's joke.
Do you... You know that's a fragrance, right? What? You fall before me says maybe people will finally smell good at conventions.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. And I made a smells like Aragorn right joke, and now the chat is demanding the board. So.
It's like sniffing permanent markers. Hey, you want to huff some of our fragrance? We've made it to unlucky number 13.
Unlucky number 13. Yeah, see, I looked at this page and the scents they're describing actually sound really, really nice, which is not at all what I expected from a gamer perfume.
No.
To be honest. Like, if you think about, the chat is even mentioning some of the scents that you expect to be associated with gamers, like Cheeto Dust and Mountain Dew and BO, which we can leave that part out, but... Stale pizza. I don't know. Mom's basement. A little bit of musty mold or something.
Mom's basement. I do not want to know what that even smells like.
Like Cheeto dust and Mountain Dew and
Yeah.
BO.
And stuff stuck in the shag carpet.
Ooh, stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into detail. I'm just going to say stuff, and you know
We don't need
exactly what I'm
details.
talking about. Yeah.
On the stuff from the hentai games.
Mom's a big fan.
Yeah. Yes.
So, I mean, obviously, this is going to be a small release. I think that this will end up being a collector's item, though. This would be like, the Taco Bell Xbox and all that stuff, or people are hawking it on eBay for $1,000 or something like that, right?
Yuval before me says gives stuffed crust a whole new meaning.
Nope. Nope.
Well played, sir. Well
Donnie has that look on his face he usually has before he shuts off his headphones to regain composure.
What does Ozone Accord smell like?
Well, you know ozone, right? So anytime you've had burning electronics, that smell.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Just it's a scent that you just want around you all the time, right?
Right.
The scent of toxicity.
I mean,
all right, goth girl.
I was just gonna say, like, especially if you play online games, the Warzone boys, they're comfortable. They love the toxicity.
WZB. Games with Coffee says, so you smell like a Radio Shack then?
Pretty much, yes. And I'm fairly certain that we don't have to explain what a Radio Shack is, thankfully, because our people who listen to our show, according to Spotify, know what a Radio Shack is just based on their age.
For any newcomers.
If you don't know what the Radio Shack is, then you're probably lost. We apologize.
Yeah, just Google it.
Yeah, you're just going to have to trust us, though, that it smells like that. It's like a Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Everybody knows what a Blockbuster smells like. Everybody knows what a Radio Shack smells like.
I was having that discussion with my dad about certain places and certain smells. Like, every time I go into like a Goodwill, there's a certain smell. Every time we go into
excuse me, talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
Every time we go to a McDonald's, there's a certain smell. So that's interesting. Almost
the Subway smell as well.
Yeah. I would say in Canada, a Canadian Tire has a certain smell.
That would be an interesting like perfume line, or maybe it would work better as candles, but like smells that you know, but you don't know you know.
Right. I don't think we got Donnie with the smell conversation. I think he just had some business to take care of.
He looked down his phone before he disappeared and he went, "Oh," and then he said he'll be right back. So
Got it.
Somebody texted him something.
Well, Blue, do you want to do our top 3 new releases?
All right, let's move on to our top 3 new releases. First up is Mind's Eye, out on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Mind's Eye is a narrative-driven, single-player action-adventure thriller set in the near future, fictional desert city of Red Rock, featuring best-in-class cinematics, high-octane driving, and explosive combat from game director Leslie Benzies, former president of Rockstar North, a subsidiary of Rockstar Games. Next up is Five Nights at Freddy's, Secret of the Mimic, out on PS5 and PC. Enter the abandoned workshop of Murray's Costume Manor and unravel the mystery left behind by the reclusive inventor. In Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic, you'll step into a world where every dark corner holds a secret and every flicker of light hints at an ever-present threat. And then finally, Dune Awakening, out on PC. Rise from survival to greatness and challenge the power of an Imperium in Dune Awakening, a multiplayer survival game on a massive scale. Survive the sandworm, craft your ornithopter.
Yep, we're going to go with that one. Sounds about right.
Build a fortress and ascend to power on an open world Arrakis shared with hundreds of other players. So based on these lovely descriptions here, what are you in for, Ryan?
So watch the trailers on all 3 of these as well. And For one, I've never seen like a Dune movie before. So I've never seen a Dune
What?
movie. I haven't read the
What?
books. I haven't seen a Dune movie.
The new
So
Dune movies are amazing, and you should
so I've heard.
watch
So
like
I've heard.
10 minutes of the 80s one just so you can laugh your ass off. It's
Fair
so
enough.
bad.
Oh, then I'm gonna love it then, because
Yeah.
I'm definitely a so bad it's good kind of guy.
Okay, well yeah, this is going to be your favorite then.
Yeah, but having not had any experience with Dune, I don't know. It seems like it's a lot like you should know certain things, and then I feel like with the trailer I watched too, like it seemed to ruin the ending, right? Where it's like you came together and you were working with this one person, and then you guys split apart from each other and started attacking each other. Like I don't know.
Those aren't characters in the movies.
I know, but they're characters in the games that you're about to play, right? So I don't know if it's like you pick a side or something, and that's abundantly obvious towards the beginning. I don't know, but it felt like it was revealing too much of the plot. So,
Hmm.
but then again, I'm like the one who complains that, uh, well, I have no idea what this is about because it didn't tell me anything, right?
Right.
Which is what I'm about to do with Mind's Eye. I have no fucking clue what this game is about. I really don't, and it looks interesting. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
Um, and combat looks fun, right? And it's looks like it's going to be a thriller style game. I just have no idea what this is really about. So it's one of those ones where I'll wait and see what people have to say. Five Nights at Freddy's, I've always enjoyed because it's got jump scares, so it is scary, but it's also cartoonish in a way. So it's like there's a sense of you can take yourself out of it, sense of disbelief, if you will.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think I'd be interested in trying this one out. It's a new take, of course, on Five Nights, right? It's in a different setting. You're dealing with something that can change. It sounds like, as far as forms are concerned, this exoskeleton that you can put on that can be anything. So I would imagine they'll
Mhm.
play into that and lean into it quite a bit. So it sounds like it would be a fun one. So oddly enough, which I didn't expect when I first read this list, I'm gonna go with Five Nights at Freddy's.
All right.
Yep.
What about you, Donnie?
So Mind's Eye, we've seen. Um, didn't we see a trailer for that at Summer Games Fest?
Hmm.
Okay, I thought we did. I I've heard some bad things about this game, about how it's shipped with an insurmountable amount of bugs, and
Interesting.
that to me is a huge turnoff. I don't care how well the game plays. I don't care about like how good the storyline is. If you're a studio and you ship a game with bugs that you now have to patch and everything like that, and you just decided to say screw it, let's just get the game out there so we can get this money in. F you. I have no desire to play your game no matter how good or great it is. So Mind's Eye, I'm going to skip. Five Nights at Freddy's, I've always liked the whole idea of that particular IP. I've never played a single Five Nights at Freddy's, but I hear they're fun. My oldest son, loves the franchise. He's excited for this game. I've never dipped my toes into the Five Nights at Freddy's world, so I can't say I would start with this one. Dune Awakening. Not a big Dune fan. I never finished the first Dune movie that came out a couple of years ago. I haven't seen Dune 2. Dune, the original one, I think I watched once and I was just like, don't really care. I know Sting was in that one. It's like, oh yeah, my eyes, yeah, Sting, but So right now, none of it, no game this week is going to make me run out and purchase it. So I'm a big fat zero.
All
And
right.
Blue, you shut your mouth, okay? Tank controls
I
are
said
not a bug.
nothing. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did say that.
Hmm.
Think controls are completely a bug, and Capcom said, you know what? We're just gonna go with it. We're just gonna just let it
Wrong,
be.
wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
What are you picking this week, Blue?
So I will agree with you, Ryan, in that Mind's Eye. I don't know what this is about. The trailer is so generic. It's action, and there's a protagonist, and he's important somehow, but I have no idea what's going on. It sounds like just about every other like narrative action game out there. The
Right.
thing that's interesting about Mind's Eye is that it's getting the review scores I believe are around like 6 out of 10. beforehand, and people are mentioning the bugs. But what's so interesting is that Leslie Benzie is throwing a fit and saying that there's a paid effort to put bad reviews,
I
and
heard
so
about
these
that.
reviews don't count because they were paid for. Because there's a scheme going down to take down his new studio.
I love paranoia. This is
Yeah.
I
great.
You got the
know,
aliens,
right?
man. You got Pepe Sylvia over here with the whole string theory. You know,
And people on Twitter are like, "Are you sure, bro? Are you sure that that doesn't sound just a little bit crazy?" And he's like, "No, 100%. It's not crazy. It's completely logical." And it's like, okay, all
He
right, all
says
right,
as he's crafting another tinfoil hat.
right, exactly, with the red yarn up on the wall behind him. So anyway, I wouldn't play that anyway. And then Leslie Benzie's like, I do feel bad for the developers that these CEOs keep going out and ruining all their hard work. But he sounds straight up crazy. So I'm just gonna, I think, walk past that one. Five Nights at Freddy's, comes out on Friday the 13th. And I don't know what better way to celebrate Friday the 13th than by playing a scary ass game. Probably it looks fun. I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's, you kind of know what you're getting. They have essentially created their own like subgenre of horror, and it's good stuff. But I got to admit, what has my attention this week is Dune Awakening, because I adored the two Dune movies that came out. They were my favorite movies of each of the years that they came out. I love them,
Wow.
and I don't normally like MMOs, but because I'm so interested in this world, I'm really, really drawn to this, even though I may hate it. But it's people are liking the beta. Like apparently writing the sandworms is not a thing that was programmed into the game, but people are figuring out how to do it anyway. So I think it sounds really, really fun. So for me, that's the one that I would go with.
Do you have the Dune popcorn bucket?
No, I did not get the Dune popcorn bucket. I think I just watched them at home.
I've heard that it's useful.
with the right amount of butter.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot confirm that.
Is there an Anakin crossover in Dune?
I hope not.
No. Okay.
Is there a Beetlejuice crossover?
Right with the sandworms. Yeah.
That I would allow.
You know I hate them.
I hate them myself.
That I would allow. Yes, Webhead, you do. Gotta watch the Dune movies now.
So, help me out again. Massively multiplayer online. You're in the world. You can have so many people of the same look and design, right?
My general understanding, which may or may not be wrong, is you get to create your character. You get to join one of several factions, which just I think is what the trailer is kind of hinting at, where it's the two different factions and their friends and then their enemies. I don't really think it has anything to do with the story, just other than you can fight or get along with whoever you want. But
Okay.
that's my limited understanding, having not played the beta.
Because I wonder what level of creativity they allow you to have with your own personal character to where you don't look like everybody else. Like playing World of Warcraft, I remember, okay, it's a dwarf. Okay, I can create a dwarf. He's either got an angry face, a happy face, or a face. Long hair, short hair. So pretty much you're going to run into somebody that looks like you fairly often. So I didn't know if this was the case with Dune.
Well,
I
since
don't know, but
CD Projekt Red came out with junk choices,
Yeah.
I think you
Big or
can't
little.
go. You cannot go anywhere now. You can't have a character choice screen without having the option to choose your junk size.
yeah. But I mean, you got to have your character still look like it fits in the world. So
Of course.
there's some limits there, but I don't know.
All right, so before we move on, let's take a quick break to talk about our sponsor. This segment is proudly sponsored by the Retro Game Club podcast. It's a fantastic family-friendly retro gaming podcast, and in each episode, Rob and Hugh,
Oh, it's been a long time.
Oh, I know.
Wow.
You messed up. You messed up.
I'm leaving that in too.
Oh my goodness. Well, Rob and a guest pick 2 games to play and discuss, as well as news, interviews, and other topics. This week, they want to know, what is your contrary opinion about a famous or infamous retro game or console? Send your answers to email at retrogameclub.net or follow the link in the show notes. I think everybody knows mine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The N64 is not the GOAT.
Care to elaborate?
There are a lot of people who think it is the greatest console of all time, and I just happen to disagree. I think that it is, as the kids would say, mid.
All right. Yeah, I would probably expand on that and say something a little more controversial in that I don't think the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, was GOAT. Well, it did a lot of great things. It still suffered from the era.
Oh,
And,
that
Donnie's
entire
giving me the look.
generation.
Yeah, that whole generation was just hurting. So, yeah, I'm gonna say it's not that great.
At least it had more than 2 RPGs. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
True.
Yeah, I mean, good lord, the library alone on the play. You are out of your fucking mind.
Hence why it's a controversial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
You know mine. Mine is that the Sega CD was a very, very amazing console. It gave us some great games, like Snatcher, Time Gal, Kyo Flying Squadron, even the what Rise of the Dragon, Night Trap. Come on, the and Night Trap and Sewer Shark alone for the interactivity that it gave us. That's my hands down favorite console.
Sanity says Donnie might as well be speaking Mandarin right now. It's you know, Night Trap and Sewer Shark are wonderful in hindsight.
No, they are not. They are wonderful in plain sight.
Okay.
I love how offended he is right now. Because not only did you offend him with your pick, you
right. You had to attack the Sega CD. Is this because I attacked your opinion on the PlayStation 1?
TK85 says, "Listen up, dog meat."
Exactly. I'm Ratigator bait. And now it's time for the insert intro here. Very important poll.
Insert.
Every month we post our VIP, very important poll. If you'd like to participate, follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at GamersWeekPC. This month's question is, with the announcement of the ROG Xbox Ally, how do you feel about the handheld gaming boom of the last several years? 5.9% of you said you hate it. 16.2% of you said you like it. 32.4% of you said you love it. And 45.6% of you were kind of neutral. Like, eh. So let's take a look at some of the comments from the poll. Praise the Sun 88 says, never owned an Xbox myself, but as someone who digs mobility, I think it looks awesome. Eldronox says, I'm thinking about getting the ROG Xbox Ally since it's pretty streamlined and not overloaded with stuff and bloat free. Plus, being able to use Steam and other platforms on it is a big plus. Looks like a solid handheld for all my gaming needs on the go. Curious to try it out and see how it handles. Tesseract Unfold says the main reason I like it is that it's forcing PC game makers to consider controller support as a basic function of the game instead of a niche option. Also seems to be making the overall experience more streamlined and console-like. Pigeonfish says, neutral for now. I was never a huge handheld gamer myself, but it's really great for the people who are. I guess I'm a little disappointed that this new one is Windows-based. The Steam Deck being Linux-based meant game devs were paying more attention to Linux as a viable platform for gaming. And Thunderdome Gaming Society says, I have a Steam Deck and I love it. This ROG Ally X is a game changer with that customized OS, allowing you to play any game instantly from Xbox, Steam, GOG, Epic, and others. Plus all the possibilities for emulators and more. It's an all-in-one device. What's not to love? No need for a Switch 2 now. Ooh.
Ooh.
Wink.
Wink. Well, I mean, the question is, they didn't really answer the question. They focused more on the ROG Xbox Ally as opposed to saying how they felt about the gaming boom. Has there really been a handheld gaming boom, so to say? Because
Yeah. I think there's been an attempt, right, with several different companies coming out with some version of it. A lot of them are, of course, computing companies like Asus and Nvidia, right? And so they're that marketplace, right? Steam, of course. That marketplace is kind of open because Nintendo, I think, if you put it in that same light, I don't think Nintendo is playing in the same marketplace as those ones are. Because the people who are buying Nintendo for the mobility factor also buying it for Nintendo games specifically, right?
yeah,
And so this other piece to it is like let's take the one thing that sucks about PC gaming is that you're stuck playing PC gaming at your house in front of a monitor, right? Let's take it out of that realm because we know that there are people who do want to play games on the go.
of
Mobile
course.
games are extremely popular, always have been since, 2010 basically, since people started playing religiously Candy Crush and Angry Birds on their phone. I know that's that's the start of it, right? But now I think that what they're trying to do is capture that marketplace. The only thing is I just haven't seen, how would I put it? I haven't seen like this explosion necessarily of these game systems doing exceedingly well, right? Where they would be even in the same conversation as your Switch and Switch 2, or even your Nintendo DS. So from a popularity standpoint, I think what it is at least this is what I'm going to say is I'm not a like a hate it, love it, or like it. I'm a neutral in this sense. I just think right now there needs to be one or two really strong players, which I think the Steam Deck is one. But everything else, it just seems saturated right now. Where there's just a lot of options, and nothing is standing out as being particularly excellent besides maybe the Steam Deck. And even in that same vein, right? You you gotta. It sounds to me a little bit like this ROG Xbox Ally might have enough of a differentiation for that to be the case here. So maybe we're going to see that marketplace get bigger and boom. But again, it's just so saturated right now that people just don't know what to pick. So it becomes like, you know, when the like mid or early to mid 90s was going around and like the Panasonic 3DO was out
Mm-hmm.
and the Philips CDI and all this kind of stuff. But no one paid attention to those because the Genesis and the Super Nintendo existed. I
Yeah,
feel like that's what's happening with a lot of these handholds, more or less,
that's
because
fair.
everyone has the things they want already.
I can't agree with you on the fact that you say that nobody paid attention to them because I think a lot of people paid attention to them because they wanted something different than the than the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. They wanted that different level of gameplay, and those systems started to bring the people that. Now, granted, the launch of the 3DO, like I talked about on the last episode, it was a
Garbage.
complete shit show. So
Mm-hmm.
because of that, because of the fact that they only had like one game at the time of launch, it put a bad taste in people's mouths. So they didn't get a chance to really, have that as the game changer console. And of course, the PlayStation comes out a couple like 2 years later than that, and that's what everybody was like. Oh yeah, this is the next level of gaming. It's going to, yeah, it looks like crap. I will agree with you. It looks like crap, but this is the next level of gaming.
I mean, it's not a perfect analogy, I will say, in that sense, but I think that it's how it felt at the
Yeah.
time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where I think the average person was just still paying attention to it. Because again, too, those things were expensive. And the Steam Deck, how expensive is that?
$600, I
So,
think.
yeah,
Yeah, it was.
600.
So it's as much of a console, if not a little bit more than what you were looking to spend. So
Mm-hmm.
in the
And
same realm, I mean,
what happens to the Steam Deck or this Xbox, this ROG Xbox Ally? Can you upgrade it? Because
that's a
at
good
some
question.
point it's going to fall behind, and now you're going to have to go out and spend $600 to $1,000 on a brand new handheld that can play all of these new games. So how much of a lifespan does that particular system have?
And that's one of the problems with PC gaming too, right? You constantly have to upgrade your graphics
Video,
card if
yeah,
you want to keep playing, right?
yep,
That's why it becomes an expensive hobby. So being able to pull all of those games into a handheld, to your point, longevity is going to be short unless there's an option to, as you pointed out, upgrade it and get whatever it is that they're using for a graphics card in this thing upgraded, whatever they're using for a PC or a CPU rather upgraded. But that's still a cost to you, right?
yeah.
And I guarantee you that it's not going to be cheap. So to your point, it may just be, well, it would cost just as much to buy the new components. Guess what? You just buy a different one, buy the new one.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Hmm. And it's not the lifespan that we're seeing with modern consoles because people are making specifically for that console, right?
Right.
Making it specifically for the Switch for the most part. For the
Yes.
most part,
But the Steam Deck's been out, what,
Couple of years.
3, 4 years,
hmm
5 years, whatever. They've not, to my knowledge, come out and announced a Steam Deck 2. So the lifespan of this thing may end up operating something like a console where it's good for 8 years or something.
right.
We kind of have
But
to
there's going to
wait.
be a point in which you just can't play the games you want to on it.
There is, but we gotta wait and see what happens when we get there. And as Sanity is pointing out, if you're running on the cloud, it's gonna work a lot longer for you. But handheld gaming is still a niche market, even though for some reason it's a niche market that so many companies have decided that they want a piece of. Because you've got all the Steam Deck likes that are out there. Then PlayStation decided they wanted to do their Portal. You've got Xbox doing their thing. You also have the more retro like
Analog and
handhelds, like the Analog
Yeah.
Pocket, gazillions of those. You got
Playdate.
even, yep, the Playdate, more like that. So there has got to be money to be made here with these things, even if the majority of people say, Matt, I don't really care about it. It's not for me. But if there wasn't money to be made, these companies wouldn't be doing it. And I, for one, I love it. I like, especially the Analog Pocket. I want to get all the varieties and all the colors. Like, if money was no option, I would have every single one of those up on my shelf being displayed, especially because you can dock it to your TV and play it that way when they have multifunctionality like that. I
Right.
really love them. So, and I probably would have a Steam Deck or this ROG Ally thing if if I had that much extra money to spare. But like as they're saying in the chat, the cheapest version is $400, which is still it's a pretty penny. And for that, I'll probably get a Switch too, which I did. So
Yeah.
then I can play Mario Kart.
And I mean, Nintendo is still proving that the mobile gaming platform, or when I say mobile, let me rephrase them, the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
handheld gaming platform. Sorry, I did not mean to taint it. Handheld gaming platforms are still viable. Still, people still want them. I mean, they've been running the game, and everyone has tried their hand at it. Seems like and nobody's gotten it really right, except for maybe PlayStation. With like the PlayStation Vita and PSP were popular enough, but not apparently not popular enough for them to come out with a new one.
Right. To keep
So
Hmm.
going.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there's definitely a marketplace for that, but I agree that I don't think it's obviously going to do as well as your typical PC or console market has done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
I
since
personally, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, no.
no, just especially since the majority of people who play PC games want that big monitor, right? They want
Yep.
that big action sequence and the speakers to just blow your shirt off and everything like that. And
Right.
to be able to play
Only
that on
one?
What? Huh?
Only
It's
one
curved.
monitor?
It's curved.
Yeah, it's curved. Yeah. I mean, I've
Okay.
got 2 monitors and everything like that. I used to have 3, but they want that big ass curved monitor that's like about this and provides that immersive experience when they're playing a game, not just to be siloed, craned, looking at a screen like oh my god,
Yeah.
my neck, like, can't do it.
Yeah, but not everybody has old man eyes and necks either.
That's true. Uh, Sanity, only 2 monitors, but that's
I
none of my
already said that.
business.
I've never been a handheld person.
Me neither.
Besides, I think the original Game Boy and Sega Game Gear. That was like the two, and then I was done. I mean, I owned Game Boy Advance. I owned a DS, right, and played it here and there, but it was never like something that I owned a huge library for, anywhere close to what I. And in the Switch, I have never goes undocked, ever,
Ever? Ever?
ever,
Ever?
ever, ever.
Forever, ever?
Hmm.
Even I have undocked mine a handful of times.
Yeah, but you're like I said, you're
You're the
a on
handheld
the
person.
go kind of gamer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the thing is, like, I've been thinking about bringing it on, like, the plane and stuff if I travel. And then I think about what Donnie just basically said is, do I really want to play these games in mini mode? You know?
Well, it's fine in the pinch, especially for some games that you don't want to play on like the big screen. Like I put in countless hours with Balatro on my Switch. The last time I took a plane ride when we went out to LA, I had my Switch there. I played Breath of the Wild, and it's not as great as having the bigger screen, so I can see everything with my old man eyes and see all the items and stuff like that. But it does it in a pinch. Since I'm not the handheld gamer type, it satisfies that particular itch for me. So but I don't think I'm their market, needing to go out and spend $900 on an Xbox ROG Ally to play a PC game that I can clearly find playing it right here in my office and not outside someplace. Which, granted, I love that fact. I love that people can actually have that option to do that. But if I'm outside, I interacting with people, doing other stuff, and not playing a video game.
No, you need the handheld to help you block out the outside, even when you're outside.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We ignore the outside.
Ultra-wide monitors are great, but have you tried just using a 40-inch TV for your PC monitor? Yes, I have. I did that a while ago. When my, I think something happened with my monitor, and I actually had to hook it up to my PC, or I'm sorry, not my PC, but my LCD in the living room. And man, I was like, I'm not going back to like a regular monitor. There's no way in hell.
Yeah. Frank says, interacting with people outside? Are you really even a gamer? Thank you, Frank. That's what I'm saying. 85-inch TV. Brian can see like our individual pores.
Yep.
Our faces
Yep.
are all right there.
Right. So when Donnie gets up and walks away.
Oh yeah, you get to see all the hairs on the legs.
Just imagine how that cinematic gooch shot will look.
Yes. This is why Blue is so strict on her skincare routine.
You have no idea.
So I think, when it comes to the handheld market, there's a future. Again, I don't know what the longevity of that looks like. Because it's the Wild West right now, realistically. If you're not talking about Nintendo, it's the Wild West.
I think the portable PC market is probably here to stay.
It will be, you're right. I also think when you're talking about the younger generation who is completely satisfied with playing mobile games, when they start to put on their big boy pants and play real games.
Sick
Yes.
burn. Ooh.
He's shaming. He's shaming.
You want to play Roblox on an 8-inch screen? Then yeah, I think it'll be something that is waiting for them to find. So, but again, it's very expensive, from what I understand. So
Mm-hmm.
that's, I think, the only hurdle at this point.
As it is with all gaming.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, PCs in general, that because it's so expensive, um, that's always a hurdle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is like your way of being able to play on a PC that's cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Can't you plug it into your TV too, if you want?
Believe so.
Let's see, why not?
So there you go. You got yourself a PC for 400 to $600.
There it is.
Yep.
There it is.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to episode 169 of Gamers Week podcast, and a big thank you to the Retro Game Club podcast, Love Retro BTW, Pixel Pond Production Company, and Absolutely the Best Podcast, a work in progress, for sponsoring this episode. Don't forget to check out their links in the show notes, and if you want to connect with Gamers Week, follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Gamers Week PC. Watch us right here on Twitch at twitch.tv/Gamers Week Podcast, where we will record live every Wednesday at 8:30 Central Time. Email us at gamersweekpodcast@gmail.com. Visit our Moich store at gmail at gamers-week-podcast.creator-spring.com. Or if you want to do it the easy way, follow the link in the show notes. And last but not least, join us on Patreon at patreon.com/gamersweek. Finally, since you made it all the way to the end of the episode, please leave us a rating and a review to let us know how we did. We really do value your feedback. And while you're there, consider subscribing on iTunes, Spotify, or your podcast platform of choice.
Now, you two may not be aware of this, but I have been playing sound clips throughout the episode.
Oh, really?
You guys can't hear them, but the chat can. And it hasn't been obnoxious. It hasn't been grossly misused or anything like that. Just a few, like a guitar riff right there with the 69 mention. A laugh track previously when somebody said something funny, or a little clap whenever somebody chose something. So I'm just messing around with a few things. We might see these a little bit more. I'm not sure. CDs, not. I think I would like to play around with this a little bit more. I don't know if you guys in the chat liked what you heard, but yeah.
Sanity said it was very flavorful, just like you.
Okay. Oh, thank you. But yeah, just letting you guys know that.
I said not a single fart sound. Gotta go more shock chuck.
I had a fart thing lined up, and I was like, you know what? No, we're classier than that. We don't have to sink down to that level.
We're not.
No.
We're definitely
not. Maybe, but you really want to give Donnie that kind of power, because he's just going to be making fart noises whenever he disagrees with one of us, and then saying, blaming it on us.
You are not wrong there.
Exactly. This is too much power for him to handle. I don't know if he's responsible enough. We might have to remove SoundCloud permissions.
I don't think that's gonna work. See, Did anybody hear that? That's what I think about Blue's take on the PS1. Yeah. So, anyway.
I can guess. Just making a wild guess.
Gamers farting podcast.
GFP.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse.
Right.
All right, Donnie. So who are we raiding tonight?
Well, tonight we're going to raid our friend of the podcast, Mr. Seven Castle Forest. Woo. He is currently live and streaming and playing Parasite Eve on the PlayStation 1. So why wouldn't we raid him? Right? Am I right?
Maybe somebody should tell him. Tell him that the PlayStation 1's not that good.
I think it's you, voluntold.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for us. Go ahead and check out Seven Castle Forest. Definitely a friend of the podcast in the Discord. Even makes chip tunes. This guy is great. So hang out with him, watch some Parasite Eve, and we will be back with you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. You liked mine the best.
I did.